Welcome to the Green Hat Local SEO Podcast, where Kyle Sabra delivers hard-hitting, actionable tips and strategies to help business owners dominate their local market and crush the competition. Kyle's no-holds-barred approach cuts through the noise of traditional SEO, focusing on battle-tested tactics that deliver real results. He's here to arm you with the tools you need to skyrocket your rankings, generate more leads, and grow your business online. If you're tired of hearing the same old SEO nonsense and want to learn the truth, this is the podcast for you. Get ready to put on your green hats and learn SEO secrets the other guys can't handle. Now, here's your host, Kyle Sabra.
This is Kyle Sabra from Green Hat Local SEO, and in this episode of the podcast, we're going to go over what missiles, grain, and content have in common, and if you haven't already guessed, that is silos. Now, this isn't some generic bullshit report on how you need to link to related pages and all this and that, and how you need to create a super tight silo and get your internal linking tight so Google can recognize your expertise and authority and shit like that. This is about what people do wrong when they over-engineer their internal linking, or when they just internal link to fucking everything because they don't know what they're doing. Now, one thing that Google has mentioned in the past is the idea of EEAT, right? Expertise, experience, authority, and trust. And your site and how you set up your silos and how you set up your internal linking is a big part of quote-unquote EEAT. Now, EEAT is not one specific number. Google does not give a score of 0 to 1 or 0 to 100 for EEAT. It's more of a collection of signals on how Google perceives the trustworthiness of a site. And one of the ways they do that is, how much effort did you put into the content? How much of the and literally there's part of the Google algorithm called content effort. And what this is basically is Google wants to see, are you actually putting effort into this, and are you actually putting in all the information that it needs to see in its own internal knowledge graph to know that you know what you are talking about. And a lot of people take this as, okay, I need to write a fucking million pages on this one topic and get all the information possible. And I've gone over that in the very first episode, which is something about lobster rolls. I don't remember what I called it, but people go way overboard trying to create all of these pages and cover all the specific topics, potential topics for one keyword, and then internally link all these pages to create a silo. Now, that's not how silos work. You don't need to create 50, 100, 200, whatever pages for one topic. And oftentimes in local SEO, that will hurt your SEO, right? So, like I said in that first episode, if you write too many pages and you cover too many keywords, you run the risk of pulling yourself actually away from that core topic and getting your site radius way too wide, right? And that is a very real thing that I've seen happen. There's one specific SEO who kind of popularized the concept of silos and knowledge graphs and shit. And if you look at his case studies after he posts them, half of those websites aren't even in existence anymore because they just got fucking destroyed, and the other half is barely limping along with maybe a 90% traffic loss because they went way too wide in their topic silo, right? But there is a way to really just think about this, to demystify it and make it a lot easier to understand. And essentially, and this is also in the Google Leaks, they actually talk about this, and essentially what you need to think about when you're creating your silos is, what is the next logical step that you want the user to do, or the next logical step that the user should be doing or maybe will want to do, right? Oftentimes, it's not clicking 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times to find out more and more niche information about a specific topic. And how is that also going to help you as a business owner convert this web traffic into real leads, real customers. It's not going to. So this is one of the reasons why we don't emphasize blogs here at Green Hat Local SEO, because a lot of times it doesn't really help to overemphasize blogs on your website. Really what it is, and really what you should be doing, is guiding your user or guiding your potential user down into a conversion point. Now, as a local business owner, you are not writing an informational website. You're not here to provide information, to be a source of citations or a source of truth for somebody else writing, maybe a college paper on it or whatever. What you're trying to do is get your phones to ring or dump somebody into your form fills, so you can follow up with them with either a text message or an automated email response. You don't necessarily need to cover the entire knowledge graph for a topic. What you do need to do, though, is provide users a way to get the information they need without getting frustrated, and in the shortest amount of time possible to turn them into a lead or a conversion, right? So as you are doing your internal linking, if I can forget about the cosine similarities between these two pages, and if your topic is covering enough of knowledge graph, like a lot of other SEOs are going to tell you to do, and think about what is the bare minimum amount of information and the bare minimum amount of clicks a user is going to need to feel like they can trust me, or to feel like they can get their their query answered with the bare minimum amount of information given. And a lot of times that is the only thing that you need to do for your website. Instead of worrying about, are you covering enough of the knowledge graph, worry about, am I reducing the amount of friction the user experiences to get the knowledge they need to get the confidence to become a conversion, right? So as you're writing these pages, your service pages, for example, or your local landing pages, pages targeting something like plumber in Riverside or some shit, don't worry about linking to all these different pages about like the history of plumbing and what type of pipes do you have and all this and that. Just link to what the user will need. For example, if you are writing your page about, let's say, French drains, right? And how you service them, install them, whatever, in Riverside. Well, you're going to have your plumber in Riverside page, right? Most likely, a person is just going to search for plumber in Riverside. I would say maybe 60% of people, 65% of people are going to start their search at the super tippy top because they don't know exactly what they need. And from there, it is your website's job to give them the information to learn that they actually need somebody to help them with their French drains. Or maybe French drains would be a good option for them. Or maybe it's not even that your service page is talking about French drains. Maybe somebody is looking for, why is my foundation sinking? Or why is my house tilting one way or another? And that's where you tell them, hey, you will need, you're going to need a French drain or repair or whatever. And that blog post could then link to that page, right? Because that is the next logical step that you want your user to take. You want to tell them, hey, I service French drains. Here it is on my website about plumbing. Or, hey, if your foundation is getting damaged or whatever, or you see water pulling up against your foundation, here is why. And here's a link to our French drain page, right? Now, what a lot of people then do is go and write pages about the history on that page, about the history of them, what type of gravel to use, how to install one, things like that. And that is not really the next logical step that a user will want to take, especially if you're trying to promote your own services. Now, if you are writing a website, say a niche website about the history of French drains because you want to sell advertising space on here or sell some sort of ebook or course on how to build them, then by all means, go ahead and write those pages because obviously somebody is super passionate about French drains. But for some homeowner in Riverside, they don't give a shit about that, right? And you really shouldn't give a shit about giving them all that extra information about French drains unless, again, you are super fucking passionate about this, right? Which I have yet to meet a plumber who is. But what you do want to do is give them just the bare minimum amount of information they need to become a conversion, and that means only giving them the internal links on that page that are going to help them down their customer journey, help them down the path to becoming a lead or a customer of yours. So that means taking that blog post about, why is my foundation leaking or tilting or whatever, and taking that service page about plumber in Riverside and internally linking to your French drain installation or French drain repair page. And then from there, really all you want to do is link to your contact us page, or just have that form fill on the page, and you really don't need to have any other internal links. Now you do want to link up to your plumber Riverside page, right? That is the bare minimum you need to do. Google looks for that, LLMs look for that. That is the one time when cosine similarity should come into play. But linking out from French drains in Riverside to French drains in fucking Beaumont or French drains in Covina or whatever is not going to help that person in Riverside convert to a customer, right? How is that helping your customer journey? It's not. And this is where a lot of people go wrong too when they're building out their local SEO sites, is they try to link to every single other fucking city from every single other fucking city page, right? They link from their Riverside page to their Beaumont page, to their Covina page, to their Pasadena page, which doesn't help anybody. Not only are those pages too far away from each other on the vector, but they're not helping a user become or they're not helping a reader become a client, become a conversion. So you need to think about that as you're doing your internal linking. You don't need to make it super complicated. You don't need to worry about building out in the knowledge graph and covering all the topics possible if you are just trying to promote your business. If you are a local business relying on Google Maps or local SEO to get more clients, you don't need to do that. Really, all you need to do is give users the bare minimum amount of information, the bare minimum amount of friction to become a customer. And part of that is only giving them the next logical page for them to link to in their customer journey to either make a decision, right, about whether or not they even want to convert with you, or to link them to a conversion page, such as like a contact us page or a make an appointment page, something like that. That is literally in Google's leaks. Google absolutely does look for that. And if you internally link too much, you run the risk of throwing yourself way off of the vector for your topic, and then Google loses trust in you, doesn't know what you're trying to do. Too many links will bleed out too much page rank, which means all your link building is just going for shit. And then you're not just hurting your internal linking and your on-page and technical SEO, but then you're also hurting your off-page SEO, because you need to build twice as many, 3 times as many links as you previously thought you were going to need. So really, don't try to overcomplicate internal links. Here at Green Hat, we really only do 2 to 3 links per page, and that's even if it needs it. Sometimes pages only need to have 1 link, maybe 2, to get people to convert, right? That's not to say that you can just not worry about internal links at all. Orphan pages on a website are just as bad as too many pages. So you do need to make sure that every single page has some sort of internal linking to it. Just don't overdo it. Don't overthink it. And if nothing else, then make sure that your internal links are helping the user get to the next step of their decision-making process. And hopefully that decision-making process includes becoming a conversion for your business. And that's really all there is to link building or internal linking. So that's about it for this episode of the Green Hat Local SEO podcast. If you have any questions, or you just don't want to fucking bother doing this yourself because you run a business and you have better things to do, then contact us at ghls.io. We have a free until you rank SEO program to where you don't pay until you rank. This is an absolutely risk-free offer for business owners out there. So learn more about that at ghls.io. Again, my name is Kyle Sabra, and I will talk to you later.